Well, I think that the bike is ready to accept the new manifolds. These are the old manifolds. They are pretty hard, dry rotted pretty significantly. So I believe that the previous owner who took the carburetors off of the bike said they had a hard time getting the carbs off, mainly because these things just are not pliable too much anymore. Let's see here. There are 4 intake boots, intake manifolds, all of which have different part numbers. So they are, I believe they are all different. This is the manifold that came off of the, I think, the second carburetor from left to right. There's actually a number 2 stamped on here. And this one has a port installed on it already. And this is for, I believe, the fuel tank, petcock, vacuum line. And I see here, I think I have these all in order when it comes to the part numbers: 16-213, 16-214, 215, and 216. I think that's the order they go, given the carburetors and how these are sitting here. I don't believe that this comes along with the manifold, so we're going to take this off. Looks good and clear. And let's open these up. Oh, jump right out of the bag. And these are all numbered. So there's a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4. These are the insulators that go in between the carburetor boots and the cylinder head. And there's an O-ring here on this side of the insulator, and then an O-ring that recesses into the carburetor boot. And so these are good. They're serviceable, in good condition. I'm going to clean these up real quick and get them ready to accept new O-rings. The O-rings that were included, or that were here, they're the original ones. They look pretty dried out and nasty. So good time to replace them. So I did some checking, and there are 2 different insulator plate part numbers. From what I can tell from the parts diagram, the ones with the single bump are labeled as right, and I think go on the right 2 carburetors, and the ones with the double bumps are listed as left and go on the left 2 carburetors. So I believe that this is the order. I'll keep them kind of separated here. 1, 2, 3, 4, left, right. I think that is the way that they go. And as for orientation, I will double check, but I would believe that the screws here are going to be facing up. I would not think they would face down, but I am going to double check that as well. But let's get these installed on the bike. I could not find a torque specification in the service manual for these bolts. I believe they are 6 millimeters, so I'm going to go to 84 inch-pounds, about, what's that, 7 foot-pounds? Before I get the carburetors installed on the bike, I need to address the throttle cables. I'm down just to one cable. This is a pull-pull type of a throttle cable setup, so there should be a second throttle cable. I do have another set of cables that are in really good condition. This one remaining cable is in pretty rough shape, so I'm going to get rid of this one, run some replacement cables, and then get the choke cable hooked up, and from there see about getting the carburetors mounted. Okay, I think I got those correct. I'm going to wait to hook them up here, so I probably will need as much slack as possible down here. I'm just going to set a bath towel in here for the carbs to rest on while I get the cables hooked up. These look like they are the routing, or the, you know, that the cable clamps grab onto for the throttle, the choke. I hooked up my two air vent lines and my fuel rail line. So I'll just gently set these down in here. And I'm going to see about getting my cables hooked up. We're just going to take this one out for now. There we go. This is feeling better. Stay. There it is. Don't lose it. Don't lose it. Okay, now I get it installed into the notch, and then I can get it wrapped around the cam. Trying to do it so you can see it on the camera. Oop, don't lose it, don't lose it. There it is. Okay. I'm going to try to hold it in place. Do not want to lose it. Get it wrapped around its cam. It's wrapped around its cam. So when this one gets pulled, vroom, 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 vroom. That's what it's going to sound like. Now I'm hoping the other one will be a little easier. There it is. There we go. This is the pull open side. This is the pull close side. Okay, we'll get this closed up a little bit here. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so I wish the pull close was a little bit maybe the pull open's a little snug. Yeah, it's a little snug. Yep, there it is. Okay. Now, we'll just put this here. Okay, I'm going to use a little bit of rubbing alcohol as a lubricant to help get the carbs to slide into the manifolds. They do this without pushing the bike off its center stand. Get in there. I think we're in. Is that I believe I have the carburetors fully seated into the manifolds, but I noticed there's a small gap right here, and I'm not sure if that gap is to be present. I wasn't the one to take the carburetors off this bike. I've never seen this bike in person, up close, to be able to reference. So I did take a look at the carburetors that came off the bike, and there's a gap right here. And a gap right here, and these are fully seated. So I believe I'm going to say that a gap is normal. I'm going to clamp these down, continue on. Carburetors are installed. Now I just need to work on electrical so we can run the electric starter and also get some fuel to the carbs. You may be wondering why I'm holding on to the rear wheel. Well, as mentioned in a previous video, this bike is stuck in gear. And although I have rebuilt the hydraulic clutch, that did not free up the transmission enough to get the bike out of gear. The previous owner had taken out the final drive flange, took it off of the rear wheel here so the bike could easily be pushed around since it is in gear and the clutch was not operable. I'm going to reinstall this flange and get the rear wheel reinstalled on the bike before I try to fire it up. About 40 foot-pounds should do the trick. I got the rear tire on, and I'm going to start to figure out if I can get spark and then fuel to the motorcycle. Since the bike is in gear, I have it strapped down securely. I don't want it to go anywhere. I also removed my plate on my bike lift here. Probably when I start the bike up, this wheel's going to be spinning. So I zip tied some of my electrical components up and try to get everything away from the wheel. I also included a strap down here just to make sure that that center stand stays forward. I don't want this thing rocking, getting off, and then that's going to be a huge, huge problem. So it's still in gear. I have the spark plugs out, and if you listen, you can hear me rolling the engine over. But if I pull the clutch in and I rock, eventually that rear wheel breaks free. So the clutch is working. That's wonderful. Still not moving. Okay, so when I start the bike, I may actually start it with the clutch clamped so that, you know, the clutch is pulled. So I think I'm ready. I'm going to be getting to the electrical parts now and see if I can get spark.